So recently I set up a display for all of my Marvel modular buildings, and I technically can't complete it until I get the X-Men mansion from last year, and I obviously can't just buy that one set, so today I'm going to be buying every single X-Men set starting all the way back in. Wolverine's Chopper Showdown was a fantastic start to the X-Men theme. It has an amazing first Wolverine with these cool claw pieces and a nice gray motorcycle. The Magneto is probably my favorite one ever, even though we do get a lot more in the later years. And now obviously the draw of the set is the amazing Deadpool minifigure. It's become the most expensive figure from this set and the most expensive X-Men figure, excluding the Comic-Con exclusives. And the main build of this set is Deadpool's helicopter, and it's a cool build. It's honestly nothing crazy, it's just a simple red helicopter, which stressed me out while building. Every crack from a red piece made me think it was gonna snap. It later took 2 years until we saw the next X-Men set, and it was the first X-Men jet. This was the first Wolverine to have a cowl, and it's also the most expensive Wolverine because of the brown suit. Now the Magneto is a great inclusion, and hopefully it's the last one we see for a while and we can see some other villains. I honestly don't like the Cyclops. I always like the dark blue, but the lack of the straps and belts make him look very plain. And then the Storm minifigure is pretty cool. I like the black cloth piece she gets, and her overall design is just good. The Sentinel was a great inclusion, and I still think it looks pretty good. As for the X-Men jet, it has a movable spring-loaded shooter in the back, and the back can open up to a container with some tools and some seats for the X-Men. The front can also open to allow someone to fly the jet, and the whole ship has a seat for every X-Men included in the set. Sadly, we didn't get another set for 3 years, and when we did, it was this Wolverine vs Magneto Mighty Micro set. It has this lame Wolverine with a wacky face. I don't really care for any of these Mighty Micro sets or the weird designs. This is the only one I own. But it also includes Magneto, which is the only villain we've gotten unless you include the Sentinel. And then the cars are okay. I mean, they're just these small little builds. Honestly, it's nothing really special and it's quite forgettable. 4 years later in 2021, we didn't technically see a set, but rather we saw a new character with the Firestar in the Daily Bugle set. I figured since she's an X-Men, it'd be fitting to put her even though she was in a Spider-Man set. Now she was a main character in the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends show from the early 80s, which could be why they included her, but Iceman was the third main character, so I don't know why they didn't include him, if that's what they were trying to do. But anyways, the next actual set was in 2022 with the Wolverine mech, and it's fine, I guess. It comes with a cool Wolverine figure, but admittedly probably the worst one aside from the Mighty Micros one. It's not bad, the other ones are just better. As for the mech itself, it's actually one of the better ones in my opinion. The mechs are honestly growing on me a little bit, and this one is one of the better ones. The giant claws are nice, and it was cool at the time to see the return of the X-Men theme, since the last real set was 5 years prior, and it was just a Mighty Micro set. In 2023, we got 2 sets, and they were the Wolverine buildable figure and the Wolverine claw. Now, I have a confession, I wasn't able to get these 2 sets in before the video, but I'm still gonna cover them. So the Wolverine claws are pretty much the same as these, but Wolverine style. And they're cool, I like them, but they're probably the least interesting out of the 3 glove or gauntlet sets that we have. And then the buildable Wolverine is pretty much the same as the Ant-Man, but Wolverine style. And it's fine, I don't really care for any of the buildable figures aside from the Ant-Man ones. And now 2023 actually did have one more thing. The second Marvel minifigure series included 3 more X-Men characters. First is probably the best Wolverine ever with arm printing and just an insane amount of detail. He also came with this broken Sentinel head, which I wish they would have made a darker purple, strictly just so it could go on the older model, but I understand that that color is more accurate. And then the minifigure series also had a new Storm. She's in her white suit with a great amount of printing, and she also still uses that cool cloth piece. The last figure was actually a new character with Beast. I also love this figure, and it was cool to finally get this character in LEGO. Now in 2024, we got 3 more sets that expanded the X-Men character roster in LEGO more than ever. So first we got the brand new X-Men jet, which has an atrocious price. It was not worth $85, but it was still a great set. The Wolverine was the same from the minifigure series, but just didn't have arm printing. And then the Magneto was a weird figure. It's accurate to the show it's based on, so I don't really have a problem with it, it's just a weird version of him. But more importantly, it's Magneto. There's 4 now. There are other X-Men villains that they could make, but they only stick with Magneto for some reason. I get that he's the most popular, but they can make other characters. It also has a Cyclops, which is such an upgrade from the previous one. All the extra straps and printing just make him so much cooler. As for the Rogue, I would love this figure if the printing wasn't so bad. The yellow on her torso isn't even close to the same shade of yellow on her legs, which it should be, especially for $85. But now for the build, it's just miles better than the original one. It's so much more sleeker and rounded off. Not to mention it's also a little bit bigger than the original one. It can also open from the front and the back. And then the same trend of all 4 X-Men being able to fit inside carries over into this one as well. But this jet just looks so much better overall. The next set we got was technically a gift with purchase for buying the X-Men Mansion, and it was the Cerebro set. It includes a nice Charles Xavier in his wheelchair. This would be our first time getting him, but another version was included in the X-Men Mansion, so I think that's technically the first one. And now the Cerebro itself is fine. It has a black base and there's a brick at the bottom that says Cerebro on it, and it has a place for Charles to sit, and you can see the cool Easter egg of Jubilee on the tile piece. And then behind him there is a door that has an X on it for X-Men. It's just a simple nice gift with purchase that you get for buying. First, it has the same Wolverine from the X-Men jet as well as the same Rogue. It also includes the same Cyclops, but he gets leg printing in this one, which just makes the figure even better than it already was before. The Storm minifigure is a similar one from the minifigure series, but it loses the leg printing and it gets a new hairpiece along with a new face print. Then we got our first Charles Xavier, and he is different from the one in the gift with purchase. And he actually uses his hover chair in this set instead of the wheelchair, similar to what we see in Multiverse of Madness. Next is Iceman, who is a character that I've always wanted, and he also finishes off the Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends trio. This set also includes Jean Grey, who is nice since the only real version that we've ever gotten was from the Comic-Con exclusive, even though she was in her Dark Phoenix outfit. We also got another Magneto who is similar to the very first one, and he uses the new rubber capes. I don't really like them that much, to be honest, but the figure overall is good. I just hope that one day we see some other villains in the future. Gambit was a very sought after character, and this set finally gave us one, and it's not a disappointment, it's a great figure. He comes with this really cool like magic throwing card piece, I like it a lot. And then the last figure is Bishop, who is also an amazing figure in this set. The set itself includes the Sentinel, which is much better than the original one, and it honestly makes me want just a buildable Sentinel for a set, and then people could just army build them. The front of the mansion also includes a ton of metal things floating from Magneto. For the mansion itself, starting at the top, this white dome can explode, and in the back there's a nice little Easter egg for Nightcrawler, as well as this nice little build for a basketball hoop. On the inside there's a training room and an elevator, along with the room that has the first X-Men comic in Lego form on the floor. And then on the first floor there's the start of the bottom part of the training room, as well as this small little lounge room and this cool X-Men carpet. Overall, this is the best X-Men set by far. And now with every LEGO X-Men set, there's only one final thing to do.